Hi, my name is Mitch Stephen, and today we're going to be talking about how to flip land for cash flow. And one of the best land flippers I know is Jack Bosch. Once upon a time, I did an interview with him and I found it very inspirational and very insightful. So I took that interview, I whittled it down to just the meaty parts. In this interview with Jack Bosch, you're going to learn some ins and outs that'll make you consider flipping land for cash flow, because you can flip land all over the nation from your home in your underwear and make money. And this guy's a pro at it. So stay tuned for this interview with Mitch Stephen and Jack Bosch. Jack, tell us a little bit about what you're into.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Yes, I second everything you said. We've become good friends. I look at you as a business mentor too, because you really understand the concept of wealth creation very, very well. So what I've been up to? Well, when I say we, it's like my wife and I started a company 18, 19 years ago where we flip land. So we are the oddballs in the industry. We do what everyone else says can't be done, which is we flip land for cash and for cash flow. So what I've been up to, I've been flipping land. We flipped over 4,000 parcels over the last 18 years. We have been teaching this for 12 years now.
You're doing this land and you're doing it virtually, right? Like you'll do it all over the nation. Do you do it out of the nation?
Yes. So let's jump into that. So our land flipping works completely remote, completely location independent. It works best in the United States, but it works from outside of the United States. And what we basically do is we basically specialize on properties worth anywhere between $500,000 and $200,000. That's our sweet spot that we pick up from people who no longer want them. And that's one of the keys. We're not looking for motivated sellers. We're looking for people really that don't want these properties anymore. And we're picking them up for 5 to about 30 cents on the dollar. So a $100,000 property, we might pick up for 30 grand and then go sell it for 60 grand. Now, why does it sell quickly? Because it's 60 grand. It's a smoking deal, right? Or a $200,000 property, like my brother right now has a deal on a contract. My brother, after 18 years of seeing us, finally got into the game. He has a deal on a contract right now that's worth $250,000. He went a little higher, so he offered half market value of $125,000, but it could also be worth up to $280,000, and you're gonna go flip it for $175 to $200. That's a no-brainer. Properties all day long in that area sell for $250. So he lists his for $280, $290, $180 to $190. He's gonna make a $50,000 to $60,000 on the profit on that deal like that. And we do that from all over you can do that from all over the world.
So my question is, if it's worth $250, why are you flipping it for way under? I mean, I understand to move fast, but aren't you leaving a lot of money on the table?
Yes, we are, but there's a trade-off. So land sells, but land sold at market value tends to sit for up to 6 months or up to a year before it sells. So land sold at market value sells substantially slower than houses sold at market value. So therefore, in order to accelerate the sale, you got to drop the price a little bit. And the further you drop it, the faster it sells.
So let's talk about, I got two things. I want to talk about a case study that was just brilliant and over the top. Maybe one that really stands out. And then I want to talk about a case study where things didn't go so well and maybe the worst happened.
Okay. Well, a case study where everything is fantastic is a deal that we did last year. It's just such a perfect example. So there's this infill lot. So an infill lot, obviously everyone knows what that means. It's a street, 35 houses, one empty lot, ready to be filled in with a house, right? That's why they're called infill lots. So there's an infill lot in a part of Phoenix, Arizona that I live in, where we send out some letters in that area. Owners called us back. We made some offers. One guy accepted this multifamily zoned lot. Now it's a small lot. You can put like a fourplex on it, but or 4 to 6 units. He accepted our offer for $5,000 on that property. And there used to be a house on there. It burnt down. There's nothing fun, nothing dangerous, no environmental issues. We checked all of that. So we actually bought that property. So we used our own money to buy this property for $5,000. It's not a big deal. I figured, hey, $5,000, what the heck? So then we immediately...
Let's talk about that for a minute. The house burned down. They probably already collected all the insurance money that they were due, and now they got this lot in their name that has a slab and a, and it's black because from the smoke. And so they said, they don't care. They got paid. They got paid by the insurance company. Exactly. So they said, give me $5,000. It's yours, right?
Right. Exactly. So we bought this property for $5,000. Then we put it up on the market, and we literally put it on like Zillow and Facebook Marketplace. Two completely free resources, right? So anyone that owns a property or has it on a contract can put it on Zillow, and you can put it on Marketplace. Our contract that we have with our sellers, even if you don't own it yet, gives you the right to remarket the property. So therefore we marketed the property. It took less than 2 weeks. Somebody offered us $67,000 for that property and gave us $6,500 as a down payment. So now, basically, we carried back a note, the seller financing deal, something you're very familiar with, right? Because sell lots of houses with seller financing. We have a seller financing note for $60,500. Let's call it $60,000. And we got more than our $5,000 that we paid for the property as a down payment. So within 2 weeks, we paid $5,000, we got $6,500 back. We're in the hole. We're safe, right? We got, even including closing costs, we're like $500 ahead of the game right now. Right? So now we sign them with a contract for deed. So it doesn't even have to go on the sales site. It doesn't even have to go to title companies. So we just have them sign a contract for deed that they make in monthly payments. And now they're paying us like they needed a low payment. So we agreed to a low payment of, I think, $430 a month for the next 20 years. So we agreed to a 20-year note. The profit on that property is going to be $111,000. Over the next 20 years, $111,000 or $120,000. I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but
good enough, though. Good enough.
We took a deal for $5,000, got our money back almost instantly, and now we're making $120,000 off that property in the next 20 years. And the nicest part about it, because it's seller financing and because it's a piece of land, they're not even destroying the property. If anything, they're improving the property. Right? Because if they start building a sixplex on there, something, chances are we're going to get bought out by the lender at that point. But if they buy it with their own money and they build it and they default anytime, we get now the property with a sixplex on it. Or if they do nothing and they default down the road, so what? Then we just foreclose on it, which in certain states on a contract for deed, you can foreclose in 3 weeks and it costs $50. And then we get the property back, and now we resell it for another $67,000. But the bottom line is they're not destroying anything. They're not stealing anything because it's just land. It's the purest way of cash flow.
I hope you're enjoying this interview with Jack Bosch. I certainly had a good time interviewing him. Jack Bosch is a wealth of knowledge, and I hope you're getting some stuff out of this. If you ever want to know the art of virtual flipping land and how to seller finance land, be sure to check Jack Bosch out. All right, before we continue with this interview with Jack Bosch, please take a look at that like button, that share button, and that subscribe button. Go ahead and mash on all three of them, and then we'll get right back with Jack Bosch.
So let's talk about another case, a case where things didn't go as well as we thought, right? So unfortunately, I have to disappoint you. I don't have many bad cases like that, because when you buy something for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar, all hell has to break loose for you to lose money on a deal. But we did manage to lose money on about 5 or 7 deals. And here's why we lost money. Because we stopped following our own process. We started believing our own press releases, and we started thinking that we're better than we actually were. And that's where we made the mistake. So our process works such that and I'll tell you the deal, but it's kind of important to have that little background information. Our process works such that everything is designed such that you have the least amount of work up front, and you only do all the necessary detailed research once you have a deal under contract. So if you send out 1,000 letters and you get 100 phone calls, we do almost no research on the $1,000 letters, basically just to identify a good county, right? But then on the 100 people that call us, we do very minimal research because just to figure out what the value is, then we make our offers. And then of those 100 offers, let's say we get 3 accepted. On those 3, we do a deep dive and figure out all the details. So here's what we did. We had experience in a certain area. We already bought dozens of properties. They all used to be like 1 acre properties worth like about $15,000. We made our $1,500 offer on these properties, got them under contract, sold them for $10,000, made $8,500 or $8,000, just live happily ever after. Deal after deal after deal in that area. So we went back in that area and we got us just a little bit over in a different area, got a whole bunch of phone calls from properties. Subdivision looks exactly like the same way. Houses everywhere, empty lots everywhere. It was like, great, wonderful. So we made our offers for these properties. We figured, okay, they're a little smaller, perhaps they're only worth $10,000. So let's offer like $800 on these properties. I got like 7 under contract. And there's like, okay, great. We know the area already. We don't need to do any research. So we just went and bought these properties, paid $800 plus a little bit closing cost. In these kind of deals, we actually closed them without title companies. We did our own title searches, did our own document draw up, and we bought them for $800. And then we went and sold them. And what is our surprise? They're not buildable. Now, why the heck are they not buildable if we just bought plenty of them that were buildable? It's like, because they were only half an acre, and there's houses all over. It's like, how they're not buildable if right next door there's a house? It's like, well, what we skipped the research, and one of the steps that we do every single time, at the moment we get a property under contract before we buy it, because our contract, always a very simple contract, it always gives you the right, it literally has written in there, the buyer, meaning us, has the right to back out of the contract, cancel the contract anytime for any reason. So we can always get out of our contracts. So plus we have no escrow deposit at stake. Our contracts have no, we don't put any escrow deposit down. So now we're in these deals for $800, and we thought we know the area so well that we skipped the research, because one of the steps that we always do is call the county planning and zoning and ask them, is this property buildable? If we had done that step, we would have figured out that the county 25 years ago changed the rules, and now you have to have a minimum of an acre to build. So all those houses in the area were 25 years older. They were grandfathered in the old rules. Then they changed the rules, and that's why no more new houses were built, because all these lots were only half acre. So we were able to take 2 of these lots, combine them, sell them as 1 acre, and that flew off the shelf right away because people still wanted to build there. And on 5 of them, they were basically almost worthless. And well, we could sell them to the neighbor to expand their backyard and so on, but we ended up selling those basically at like for $500 each, and lost like with closing costs, everything involved, lost like $500 to $1,000 per lot. So we lost $5,000 out of 4,000 deals. That's pretty much the only five lots that we lost money on, and it wasn't a big deal. But the lesson learned was, don't ever think you're better than you are. Follow the freaking process step, and it'll be protecting you from losing money.
I hope you enjoyed that interview with Jack Bosch. I certainly enjoyed interviewing. I thought you would find it informational. And I would like to give you the first 100 pages of my book, My Life in 1,000 Houses, Failing Forward to Financial Freedom. In that book, you'll learn how a high school graduate learned how to flip 100 houses a year, más o menos, plus or minus, for over 2 decades. That's about 2,000 houses and a lot of experience. So check it out. All you have to do is go to 1000houses.com/free-stuff, or click on this link right here, and I'll get you that 100 pages digitally downloaded to you in a snap, and you'll be on your way. All right, this is Mitch Stephen, and I'm headed off to the next episode right now.